Head coach Mike Tomlin has officially confirmed that quarterback Ben Roethlisberger will indeed sit this week against the Cleveland Browns. And thus, backup quarterback Mason Rudolph, of all people, will get the start against the Cleveland Browns in Week 17, in which it is a very important game for the Cleveland Browns as they host the Pittsburgh Steelers in the final game of the regular season. And thus, if they do indeed win this game, they are in the playoffs for the first time, and I couldn't tell you.
A long time.
A very long time. So, to have Mason Rudolph start this game, and for him to potentially ruin the Browns' playoff hopes after what happened last year, I'll tell you what, that would be poetic justice.
Yes, it would.
And I'll tell you what, I am incredibly excited for this game. I am actually rooting for Mason Rudolph. I know that if you guys watch us for a long time, we have been advocates for Mason Rudolph to be the future of Ben.
To be the heir of Ben Roethlisberger.
Over time, that thought, that thinking has died down. And honestly, it still is. However, I'm rooting for Mason Rudolph not only to prove us otherwise, but for his future, not only to be maybe the future of the Steelers, but his future overall in the NFL.
Right, because this is really, if you're thinking about it, very well could be his last chance to prove himself. Hey, this is why the Steelers traded up to get me.
Right.
Because he had a lot of potential coming out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
He had a lot of potential. He looked very good. And the Steelers even got his old buddy from Oklahoma State, James Washington, to come with him.
Yes, in the same draft class.
Yes, they did. And last year, he wasn't all terrible, but it was not a great season for him.
No. But granted, he had a lot on his shoulders. Ben went down week 2. He had to take control of the entire season by himself. He got knocked out by Earl Thomas against the Ravens in our first matchup there. We all know what happened with the Browns and Myles Garrett. So
he even got benched for Devlin Duck Hodges,
of all people,
who is now on the practice squad as we speak.
Yes. Josh Dobbs is number 3. Whether we see Josh Dobbs in this game, I don't know. It all depends how Mason does. It depends if Mason, knock on wood, gets hurt. But Mason Rudolph will get to start in this game. I'm incredibly excited for Mason Rudolph to see what he can show. If he has grown, which obviously there was no preseason this year, so we can't really determine if he has progressed from last year. So this will be the first test for him to see if he did progress.
Yes.
So I'm excited for that, but I'm also excited for him to finally bounce back after last year's Thursday night debacle, where we lost 21-7. He threw 4 interceptions in that very game on Thursday Night Football, and of course we all know what happened at the very end, the conclusion of that game with Myles Garrett and the whole Mason Rudolph ordeal. And everything that happened afterward.
Yes. With what Garrett was saying and everything like that.
His accusations, the whole Larry Ogunjobi thing, the fines, all that. So, as much as we want to put that behind us, it's really hard to do so when we have this game coming up.
Right.
With the importance with the Cleveland Browns when Mason Rudolph starting and Myles Garrett chasing that very quarterback, Mason Rudolph.
Of course.
So, although a lot of people are probably saying this game doesn't necessarily matter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're pretty much going to steal the number 3 seed since the Bills they haven't necessarily clinched the number 2 seed, but they might as well. They have the tiebreaker over us.
Yeah.
So we might as well just settle for the number 3 seed. So a lot of people are probably saying this game doesn't matter. We're going to be seeing most of our backups. But me as a Steelers fan and me as a hater
of the Cleveland Browns, considering they are a division rival,
I want this team with backups to go in and treat this like a Super Bowl. I want this team to go in and treat it as if it's
their last.
Right.
Go out there and make a star-making performance.
Don't treat this like a preseason game.
Right, and when it comes to a game like this for the Cleveland Browns, it's not very good history for them, considering they have lost to the Steelers backups twice, 2 years in a row.
Well,
what was it, 2015 or 16 or 16 and 17? I can't really remember.
Yeah, when Landry Jones started, when we sat our starters since we clinched the playoffs years prior. But also last year when they had Devlin Duck Hodges starting.
Yeah, they lost to Devlin Duck Hodges.
Which I believe was his first career start. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they lost.
Yep.
Which, by the way, the Steelers did not have Juju Smith-Schuster or James Conner in that very game as well. So, The Cleveland Browns should have already clinched the playoff spot. All they had to do last week was beat the New York Jets. The Jets. But they did not. We made an incredible comeback last week against the Indianapolis Colts. All they had to do was beat the Jets. That did not occur. They have to win this game to get into the playoffs. But just like Cleveland fashion, it would be the most Cleveland thing to not only show promise for the first time in how long and have Kevin Stefanski show his genius in his first year as Cleveland head coach and bring out the best in Baker Mayfield. But all that just to not make the playoffs. Even when the NFL has one more playoff spot added this year. Imagine that. That would be the most Cleveland thing ever.
And in the end, the Browns are the Browns.
Yeah, cheap plug. Cheap plug. If you want to get our merch, go to shop.spreadshirt.com/SteelTwins for our SteelTwins merch. You can get a big play Clay. You can get the Browns are the Browns. You can get the piece, all that. Sport your SteelTwins merch. Cheap plug there.
And that link will be down in the description below. But the Cleveland Browns, ever since our first matchup, they have looked a lot better. All jokes aside, they have looked a lot better, especially offensively.
Right. They got Nick Chubb back. You could argue Nick Chubb's a top 3 running back, and it's crazy to say that because there's a lot of guys you could put in that category.
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones,
Dalvin Cook,
Nick Chubb,
Alvin Kamara. Guys like that.
Saquon Barkley.
That's a lot of freaking great names, man. Nick Chubb is amongst those types of running backs. He's a beast. He's probably my favorite Browns player. He is a monster.
He is.
And I respect that man a lot. The guy is a freaking workhorse, man.
He really is.
And same with Kareem Hunt.
In my opinion, the best 1-2 punch in the league, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
So that could be the difference maker in this game. Baker Mayfield might not get some of his targets because last week they all were out with COVID or with COVID surroundings. They're around someone that did have
high
COVID.
Risks.
So they could be back or they could not. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, Baker could have his targets back. If not, he's going to have to deal with what he had last week. But nonetheless, I think they're going to depend highly on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in this game.
Like they've done all year anyway. I mean, the rushing game for them is pretty much their entire offense.
It pretty much is.
So if it's anything for the Steelers defense, if there's anything for the Steelers defense to do, it's definitely stop the run.
Right. But speaking of that Steelers defense, not only is Ben going to be sitting this week as he deserves to do so, so does the defense. I would sit as much as the defense as possible. I would sit TJ. I would sit Minka. I would sit Hayden. I'd sit Hayward. I'd sit Tuitt. I'd sit Alualu. Give a lot of the other guys chances. Give Cassius Marsh a chance. Give Carlos Davis a chance. Give Isaiah Buggs a chance.
Give Justin Lane a chance. Give Sean Davis a chance. Guys like that.
Right. So we could be seeing a complete practice squad type of defense in this game, but we need to set as much of the defense as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that defense is pretty much probably the reason why we have the record we have right now.
Dude, they need back surgery with how much they've carried this team.
Yeah.
They still are.
Like, this defense needs to remain as healthy as they need to be considering the injuries they are already sustaining.
Right. Now, some of those guys might get a series or two, similar to like preseason. They might get a series or two in there just to get the momentum going a little bit so they're not too I guess, seasoned come next week in the playoffs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean.
So they might get a series or two in there just to keep the momentum going a little bit. Same thing goes for the offense. We could be seeing a little bit of Juju, a little bit of Claypool, a little bit of Deontay. I would sit Juju. I'd sit Claypool. I'd sit Deontay. I mean, granted, we don't really have a lot of receivers to throw out there since we only have 5 on the roster. I expect to see a lot of James Washington in this game. We could see the Oklahoma State connection again, which would be great to see. Same thing with Claypool, same thing with Juju. Again, they might get a series of 2 in there. I would sit them as soon as possible, though. Same thing goes for the defense if they get a series of 2 in, because this is AFC North football.
Yes.
This is always physical. We all saw the injuries that were sustained in the Ravens game, the first Ravens game, and even the second Ravens game. This is AFC North football. So it's always physical.
It's going to be brutal.
So we got to keep these guys as healthy as possible come playoff time. But I expect some of these guys to get a series of 2 in there, then come out, and then we get the backups in. But either way, I'm still going to root for this team. I'm still going to root for Mason. I'm still going to hope for a W because I want to ruin the Browns' playoff hopes. I want to crush their hopes. I want to flush them down the toilet once again. I really do.
How great would that be, bro?
Especially with Mason Rudolph starting.
Poetic justice. It would speak, a lot of volumes.
After everything that happened, after his horrific game last week, last year against the Browns in Cleveland, after the whole Myles Garrett situation, after everything. I would just love to see a Steelers victory in Cleveland and then their playoff hopes. Because not only is that the most Cleveland thing ever, that's the most Pittsburgh thing ever, because no matter how much you want to disguise the Cleveland Browns with a great coaching staff, a great team, and whatever, Pittsburgh will always own Cleveland. That's how I see it.
They always have. They always will.
Now, Mason has never beaten the Browns. Remember, it was Duck Hodges last year that beat the Browns, not Mason. But I would still love Mason to win this game and show some progression and just get or bounce back. Maybe get what people are calling a revenge game on Cleveland. So I'm going to root for Mason. I'm going to root for the Steelers to win this game. Even though some might look at it as pointless, I'm looking at it as a rivalry game. I'm looking at it as I want to end these guys' playoff hopes. I want to send these guys home early. That's how I'm looking at it, even if we are going to be seeing most of the backups. That's how I see it.
Right.
And that's how I'm going to approach this game. I think that's how most of these players should approach this game. Don't take this game lightly. Come out here, show your best, and end these guys' playoff hopes. Send them home early. In their own house, by the way. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And you know what? I'm going to say this right here, right now, and you guys can clip it if you want. Post it on Twitter, add us on Twitter, at SteelTwins, whatever. I'm being 100% honest, by the way. If Mason Rudolph does indeed win this game and end the Browns' playoff hopes, I will order a Mason Rudolph Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. And I will do an unboxing video. Dead serious. Clip it.
There you go.
Share it. Clip it. Keep it.
There you go. There you have it, guys. He'll order a Mason Rudolph jersey.
If he does indeed win this game for the Pittsburgh Steelers and end the Browns' playoff hopes in poetic justice and typical Cleveland fashion. I'd love to see it. Before we got here, I want to give a few shout-outs to a few Browns fans. Loose Cannon. You guys may know him. He's been a very loyal Browns fan. We shot him out a few times, man. He even did an unboxing to a gift we gave him for a Christmas present because he sent us a Christmas present, which has yet to get here. But he's a real cool Browns fan that we've grown to have conversations with and become close buddies with. So huge shout out to Loose Cannon, man. Good luck to your team. I know you're proud of this team to even get this far or to even have this record or for even Kevin Stefanski to show this much promise in his first year as head coach. And props to you guys. All hatred aside, props to you guys. Props to Kevin Stefanski. But, you know, the Steeler fan in me wants to crush your guys' dreams. I hope you guys understand. Same thing goes for Unger to the Max, a.k.a. the Max, man. I know we were supposed to do a collab this week, but unfortunately we couldn't do it because of schedule obligations and stuff like that and personal reasons. But good luck to your team. We're really looking forward to this game and chatting with you guys throughout the week, of course. Good luck to the Browns. Good luck to you guys. No matter what happens, congrats to you guys on being this far. Not many people, us included.
Yeah, but we did not expect 10 wins. We didn't. We expected you guys to go 6-10 again like last year. Instead, you could very well go the opposite.
Right. So all hatred aside, all jokes aside, man, congratulations to the Browns for being this far and showing so much promise in Kevin Stefanski's first year, no matter what happens.
Yes.
Of course, huge shout out to the Renegades of Pittsburgh, man. Just great group of Steelers fans that have been through this team all year, through the good, the bad, the ugly. Man, they've really repped this team, supported this team through everything. All the great, all the good, all the ugly this year. So huge shout out to those guys, man. Let's get this win, guys. Here we go, Steelers. You guys may look at this game as pointless, but I'm looking at this as a rivalry game.
As we all should.
I'm looking at this as a way to flush them down the toilet once again.
And crush your playoff hopes. Let's advance to 13-3, guys.
So Mason Rudolph will be getting the start. Hopefully he gets the victory in poetic justice. It'd just be great to watch. You know what I mean? It'll be so sweet to see all this go down, and Mason Rudolph get the start, and the Pittsburgh Steelers get the victory at the end of the season.
Yep.
And finish the year 13-3. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
And let's get this dub. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let's get this fucking dub, you guys.
Here we go, Mason. Let's go, Mason, man. Here we go, Steelers.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later. Peace!